Thank you so much for giving us so much love for all the podcasts until now. We promise you to bring in the podcast that will help you to grow mentally and spiritually. And I think both of them are really important in one's life. For today's podcast, we have with us Prat Sundar Das. He's an author, educator, and a spiritual leader. Along with all these things, he's a relationship coach as well. Before I tell you about this person, go on Google and search pratsundar.com. There's an official site on his name, and if you want to contact and know anything about spirituality, relationships, or career, he'll help you out. This podcast is mainly focused on relationships. I'll start off with the introduction of this person. He started his spiritual journey in 2002. He has dedicated his life just to spread the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a really difficult scripture to understand. He has not only done good in spirituality, but he's also done his diploma, bachelor's and master's in IT. Now let's get back to what we have talked about in this podcast. Have you ever been in a situation where you feel stuck and not sure if you want to break the relation or you want to stay in the relationship? Well, in this podcast, he suggests to take your time and think it twice before you break it, because it's very difficult to come back to the same thing. We also talk about trust and loyalty and how it is one's individual responsibility to make their partner feel loved and secure. And there's one more very beautiful message, that you should be happy and contained with what you have in life. If you keep on moving from one relation to the next, it's a never-ending story. And towards the end, we have discussed about how to be detached. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also states that it's very important that one should be detached from everything that he's doing. That means that one should be detached from the results of the actions that he's going to do. And without spirituality, it's very difficult to be detached from anything. Also, I'm really sorry if the audio is not up to the mark for this podcast. I've tried to do everything to fix it, but this is the best that I can do. I promise you the next one will be better, but the content of this podcast is so good that I have to release this podcast. Please let us know in the comment section your reviews on it. Please give us a thumbs up if you like the podcast, and don't forget to share it. Means a lot to me. Thank you.
Probably I am going through the same phase of the life of getting married and meeting someone and parents forcing us to do something. But since we're talking about marriage, weddings and all these things, I would like to. So while looking at you, I figured out that you are a relationship coach as well. And since if we talk about recent times, a lot of people are going through mental illness and mental stress because of relationships. Especially the youngsters who are going through breakups and all those things. And it's like going crazy. And what is your suggestion to the people out there, or especially the youngsters out there? Because this channel, I want more youngsters to listen. And there are a lot of youngsters who are going through breakups and all those things, because I know.
So before you break,
Yeah.
okay, give time to your relationship before you break. Many times we see for the smallest reason there are divorces. People separate. So my simple advice is that give 6 months time to both of you. Because sometimes the time, place, circumstances are such that you tend to fight, something goes wrong. And then you separate. I mean, you take divorce, you separate, and then after you separated, then you miss that person so badly. But you're already done. You can, if you find it difficult to go back, right? And then that loneliness starts in your life, right? So breaking things are very easy, right? But maintaining relationships are very difficult. So that is a challenge. That is a challenge. In cricket also, uh, partnerships is what needs to be built, right? And based on the partnerships only from both the players, a team can reach the certain targets. So partnerships are very important, right? Every time a batsman gets out, there is a blow to the team. Right? And their chances of winning becomes less and less. But if there is good partnership, then there is victory is guaranteed. Similarly, so if between the couples, if something goes wrong, give some space, give some time to each other. Just don't try to break relationships just like that. It's going to spoil you, it's going to spoil her, it's going to, because so many lives, two families are associated with us, the parents are there, like sometimes grandparents are involved. So because of us, everything gets affected. And our life also, personal life also, both of us get affected. If the children are involved, they get affected. So a lot of things are there. So before breaking up, a lot of time has to be given. Without just keep distance for 6 months, without separating. I mean, without divorcing. Just go for a time, for little amount of time, for let's say 3 months, 4 months, separate yourselves.
Separate as in?
Uh,
Like stay away from each other, no
yes,
contact and something.
yes. If you cannot work with that person, if things are not going on well with that person, or sometimes what happens, anything that person says, it's like, it's not working. Sometimes relationships come to a point, but then after 2 months, after 3 months, that same points, you think she was right.
And it would matter also maybe.
Huh?
It would matter also maybe.
Yeah, and the same problems after 6 months might be very insignificant for you.
Yeah.
And you might laugh at it that I fought with my wife on this point. Right?
True.
I fought with my girlfriend at this point. Or she might think, oh, I chastised my husband for this particular point. It was so insignificant.
True.
But during that point of time when you're fighting, everything becomes significant. Even smallest thing, smallest activity becomes big. Oh, how is he looking at me? How is he doing these things? How is he walking? How is he talking? Even he's saying hello. Is this a way to say hello? Even small things become very significant. So what happens sometimes, space is to be given. Time has to be given to relationships. Heal.
Yeah.
To heal. That wound which you have caused troubles because of others. But that doesn't mean that we have to give up that person. Allow the time. And time heals. And then you can again come back.
Yeah.
Patch up.
But what I've seen in recent times is that maybe that's just me who thinks that way. Earlier, like at my parents' time, the marriages used to work more because the lady, just that's just my thought, because
Yeah.
the lady used to do the household things and the male used to go out and do work.
Yeah.
Now what happens is that what I see in youngsters like my friends, they are individual. Like girls are individual, they are earning good amount of money equal to what a male is earning. When it comes to a point where things are not working out, they're like that we don't need you for, basically we don't need you for financial stability, it's already there. And if we break things, there are a lot of fishes out there, we can go and find a new one. So that is the mentality of youth these days.
Yeah.
And that is what I think, that I can be wrong as well.
Yes, actually, scenarios today and scenarios sometime back are very different. Previously, the life was such that one person's earning was able to maintain the family. Right now, the situation is that things are so expensive that even if the 4 or 5 members in the family start working, still it's very difficult to maintain. So naturally, the couple is forced, even though they might not will, but both of them they have to work. And then when you work, both of them are on the same wavelength, and both of them get tired and they come back. But still, the wife takes let's say wife is managing the household chores and everything, so she also needs support. Because if both are, the previous scenario and current scenario are different, so the responsibility of the couples are also different. That all needs to be sorted out between them. That is called mutual understanding. And also being loyal to each other, it's also a point.
Yeah.
Because it's very easy for people who are in the corporates especially, that they can get carried away, because it's very easy to make new friends, and then move on with someone else, but if you cannot stay loyal to one person, you cannot stay loyal to any person. That's the nature that becomes a habit. So that trust and loyalty has to be developed, because that is the real reason why things get pissed off. Because in corporates, we tend to become so loose with our dealings and we so mingle very easily, and that disturbs the relationship. Because our husband or our wife, they might lose trust in us. Working is the need of the hour. You have to work, but at the same time, maintaining that loyalty, that trust, because that is so important. That is very important at this current scenario. And having friendship is not bad with others, but cannot give the same position as you give to your husband to someone else, or your wife to someone else. So that always has to be special in your life. And best is to be very transparent in a relationship. And sometimes the wife does not like the way you're dealing with some of your colleagues, so you have to abide by that. And sometimes the wife has to also, if she's working, and then somebody might have might want to take advantage of her. So she should also listen to her husband, and that mutual friendship, mutual affection, that is the main thing. Understanding and being loyal to each other. Those are so important things, and then it can go on. It can go on.
So what I understand and what I was talking to one of my friends last week. So he was telling me because all the wedding things are going on, everything is getting married, and my parents also. So I was just talking to people to know how it is. So he told me that it's the trust is not something that will just come overnight,
Definitely.
and it also depends on the person you are staying with, how comfortable the other person is making you feel. Because he was like, he's been with someone and he doesn't feel comfortable at all. He doesn't feel that there's trust at all, and he doesn't feel that there's a secure relation there, because it wasn't coming from the other side. From the other side, it was coming in a way that something is off. So I think you can trust someone, but also trusting blindly at this
Yes.
point of time is a little risky. Like that is what.
That's why before marriage only, I'll say that if you could ask for traditional way of marriages are different. But current scenarios, when marriages are made and broke like that. So that's why I will say that before marriage actually happen, by keeping good respectable distance, both of them should actually spend 3 to 6 months with these asking different questions, and getting your doubts clarified, knowing some past relationships, for example, what were they involved in, and trying to know each other's nature, trying to know what they're liking, they're disliking, and putting forward some situations. What will happen if I do this? If I have a job? If I don't have a job? If I lose a job? Or what? So different scenarios, and how will the opposite person react? So all these questions, mutual understandings. For 3 months to 6 months, I'd suggest that you should spend time asking to each other. And when you feel that, and also during this 3 to 6 months of time, a lot of ups and downs also happen in life, and then you also come to know that how this person reacts in different situations, and then you take a call. Otherwise, just blindly accepting someone just because someone is so beautiful, or someone just handsome, and just going forward, and then you felt cheated. Just in one night or 2 nights, you come to know the secrets of the person, and then you get shock of your life, but you're already married now, right? So because I'll say the same thing, that just like first, don't commit to a relationship too soon before knowing that person.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So while reading about you, I found out that you've written out a book as well, which is
Couple of books.
yeah, a couple of books actually. And while doing the conversation, you told me that there are two more books coming.
Yes.
Coming up. And the book was basically on secret of lasting love.
Yes.
So I would like to ask, first of all, what is your definition of love? Like that is one thing which
With
a lot of
with respect to whom?
with respect to people first and then God.
So, with respect to people, especially when you're talking about relationships, uh, is love means it loves so many things. Love means care, understanding each other, loving each other, caring for each other, and then being there for each other, and supporting each other, understanding each other, tolerating each other. You know, I'll say a friend in need is a friend indeed. So if you have, this marriage is such a big boon to a person that this is like a friend which is arranged by the providence for you. Genuine, natural friend. Now that friend is come in your life. So how you deal with that friend? It's very important because both the husband and wife they have to take in this way that this is the person who is meant for me. So how you deal with that? Love, friendship, affection, our dealings, we and so in different circumstances, in ups and downs of life. So that I'll say is how we that is called love. The loving dealings, respectable dealings, the affectionate dealings. So it is so many things come and that is love. Where there is no place for hatredness, and only its genuine affection. And yes, we have to be tolerant. You have to tolerate if your friend we tolerate outside. If we tolerate our normal friends, they chastise us, they abuse us, but we tolerate other those there. But the same scenario which happens to us in the house, we make it a big thing, man. How did you say that to me?
Yeah.
Huh? And then outside they abuse you by so many ways and you don't mind, right? The same thing, same statement. If she by the slip of the tongue, if the wife happens to say, then you make it a big thing out of it.
Yeah.
Call the parents. Call your parents. I want to talk to you. I want to talk to them. So
True.
there should not be any dealings of ego. It has to be a natural friendship. Natural friendship between the couples and friends. This is friend arranged by providence. Your husband or your wife.
That's a very nice thing.
Yeah.
Friends arranged by providence.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Yeah.
Mm.
And you can create a small world, whole world of yourself. Then you can both be happy and support each other, cooperate with each other. In our offices we cooperate with the boss because he pays us. We're ready to do everything, but we refuse to cooperate with our spouses.
Which is mostly doing everything for you.
Yeah. सेम चीज बाहर पैसा मिलता है तो कॉपरेट कर लेते हैं सेम सिनारी घर पे है वो हम लोग we tend to be very upset with that. And having undue expectations is also the reason why. So my definition of the love is when you love someone, you love him in all circumstances, whether good or bad. He's yours, she's yours. Then it doesn't matter. That's love. Unconditional. Because that's how the Supreme Lord loves us.
Yeah. If you look at it very closely.
Our parents love us like that.
Yeah.
And the Supreme Lord is like that.
And maybe our parents love us that way. That's why we are so close to them.
Yeah.
Because I've seen
Unconditional love.
Because I've seen my friends whose parents were like very strict, and once they got out of their house in bachelors or in masters, they were like all one, like all out. So that is when I realized that love is something that can heal a lot of things and that can make a good relationship out of it. But to be really frank, these days it's very difficult to find that kind of love, unconditional love, because what I've seen is that
has to be created. That faith and confidence you have to give another partner also. That she is, let's say, in she or he who is, for a boy, the girl, when she gets to know that this is the person whom I can trust completely, he's not going to cheat me. He's not going to, uh, look at other women, what she wants, and he's going to be mine. He's going to be mine. And when she understands that, when she develops that trust and faith, and that comes gradually with time, when the relationship develops, small things, small things, we have to do each other, serve each other basically. That serving each other, that attitude has to be, service attitude has to be there. We are serving our bosses, we are serving our society, we are serving everybody, but we fail to serve the most near and dear ones in our life. So the serving attitude, serving each other, it's very important.
There's one thing that is coming on the top of my head, that is in the relationships and in while loving other person, we get attached. And while reading Bhagavad Gita, one thing I realized is that it's okay to be attached to people, but detach at the same time.
Yeah.
So how do we, like in our relationships, how do we be attached to the person and detach at the same time?
Yeah, so that's how in 7th canto, 14th chapter, the discussion with Narad Muni and Yudhishthira Maharaj. So then Narad Muni says that you have to be detached from inside, but you have to be attached from outside. Usually what happens, this is something called as Markat Vairagya.
Okay, yeah.
Markat Vairagya, Manki renunciation. That we tend to show our renunciation to others. We not actually renounce, we want that object, but we we show ourselves very renounced, and but we in our heart we're deeply attached to that something to that object. That is called as Markat renunciation. So best is that from outside you should be very normal.
Okay.
Like for example, you are you are in a relationship, you are married, or you have a relationship. You can't say to her that, oh look, I'm not very attached to you. I don't like anymore. This and that. You can't say that to us. And if you feel that, okay, things are not working or working out, then and you're attached to more of spiritual life, and you don't want to get into this entanglements of entangled hearts. Entangled hearts, I'll say. That's the fourth book is coming up. So, but if you say to them, the relationship will disturb. And will disturb the whole family, and then you might land that trouble in mental trauma.
Yeah.
Because let's say that she has given up on everything and she's come to you, and she's given up her family and she's coming to you and staying with you, being your wife, serving you, doing her best, and then you say, "Oh, I'm not these days. I'm not so interested in you.
I'm not attached.
I'm not attached to you."
I don't think so. That sounds that good.
Yeah, you will create she'll go in trauma. I mean, what will happen to her? She will think, oh, although she might be, she might be earning lady, still she'll think, oh, now what? Now where do I go? So even if you are developing detachment, that should be inside, not outside. That's the problem. We are attached inside and we show our detachment outside, and when things go wrong, then we become mad.
Yeah, that's true.
So when the breakup happens, we say, "Hey, मेरे को कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला है." Actually फर्क पड़ता है.
Yeah.
बैंड बज जाती है. विरह में.
I've seen people going, they go crazy, like they
can't bear the separation.
They can't. And initially they say that it's all fine, we're just going through a breakup, it's just fine, we'll find a new one and we'll just settle with the new one, and then it goes on and on and on. But at the one point they understand that this is not how it works.
Yeah.
This is not how it works. So,
and if you cannot stay in relationship with one person,
as you said,
if you keep on changing partners, you always change partners.
Because you get used to that thing. You can never get sad. Because I think I was reading this book and it beautifully says that your senses are designed in such a way that if you keep giving them options, they'll keep taking more options.
Yes.
and they'll keep on asking more options from. So that is how it works with your
Nature changes.
couple and relationships as well. If you keep changing your partner, it will keep on asking you more partners.
And let me tell you, none of them will be able to satisfy that person. You're
Yeah.
not able to get satisfied by one person.
Yeah, that's true.
Because Yati Maharaj says to his wife that if one gets all the opulence of the world, if one gets all the Stri Sukh, I'll say that, if it's available to a person, and if he enjoys that for hundreds and thousands of years, still that person is not going to be satisfied. This is the nature of the material world. We cannot be satisfied how much amount of time we go on, performing this activities of sense gratification for our own senses. So that's never going to be. So satisfaction
Yeah.
is very, very important. Understanding that this husband or this wife or this spouse which is arranged by providence for me. So being satisfied with that, accepting
The situation that you're given is the best situation and the best person.
yes, that is love.
Yeah.
And define that as love. Changing partners and it's not good because you'll always compare the second one with the first one, and you'll always find the first one, he was better than that.
Yeah.
And then you find the third one, and then you start coming third one, the first two.
It's a never-ending story.
Never-ending story. And where are you? So that's why we be happy with one person.
Do you think detachment is possible without the spirituality? Because
No, not possible.
because how I function is that what kind of I think is what I've been told by my spiritual teachers and all those people, that if we go to a movie and we see there's a character in the movie, he's doing his role, he's been shot, he's dead, and you see all of that for 2 hours. And when you come out of the movie, you're not sad because the person is dead. Similarly, the way I was taught that you are in this world with some purpose. There's this movie going on around you, and there's you are playing a character in this world, and which is already written. Script is already written what you're supposed to do in this world.
Yeah.
And if you do your spiritual practice, Krishna is going to help you with it and make that script more beautiful. And that is how I think that whatever is going around me is not me who's controlling it, is already being written, and that is how I try to be detached from the things. But when we tell people, when I talk to people and I tell them to be detached with everyone, I think it's very difficult without spirituality.
Definitely. Bhakti has two sons called as knowledge and renunciation. So there is devotional service for the Lord in the heart. And naturally, when two things happen. One is one gets a transcendental knowledge about Supreme Lord, supremacy, His name, fame, pastimes, His activities, His teachings, and that's the time when one person is still detached from the world, because he is gradually getting attracted to Krishna. So unless bhakti is there in your heart, detachment cannot come.
Yeah.
Simple.
And as I said, knowingly or unknowingly, we are loving God Himself in the body.
Yes.
So, I've seen couple of courses on your website. How married life should be, how a wife responsibility, what are the responsibilities of the wife in a married life.
Yeah.
So, what is your suggestion to the youngsters out there who are listening with regards to the relationships or the love or the expectation from their partner? What is your advice to them?
First is when you choose a partner, take your time before you commit. But there should be some decency. When you're having a conversation, there has to be some respect, integrity should be maintained. Keeping the respect of the other person. At the same time, you try to know that person. Because if you don't continue a relationship with us, then that closeness might affect both of you.
Yeah.
So when you are first is choosing a partner, right? So I'll say that being very frank, avoiding physical intimacy, and respecting each other's personal life, asking appropriate questions, and trying to know each other. Yeah. And then after proper, if you feel that both are mutually can understand each other well, then you can actually commit and get into marriage. And it has to be done with the presence blessings of the parents. That is very important because their blessings of the parents, their good wishes are very essential for Dhruv Maharaj added perfection and the blessings of a mother. You attain discipline, not hurry. So in our life also, because we need support system in our life. If something goes wrong with both of you, there is support system. But imagine something goes wrong with both of you, and there is the parents are also not with you. Then the relationship is going to break apart. Because there is nobody to explain it to both of you that this is wrong. So do things try to do things with consent, if possible, of the parents and let's say the parents are not, the guardians are there. So it's very essential that first is that mutual understanding and commitment. That is the most important thing.
Yeah, and there's one thing which I want to bring it up is, as you said, physical intimacy. There's a Gen Z term coming up in the millennium that is called as benching. What that means is that you are already seeing someone and there's already another person on the back end. So if
Backup plans.
So if this doesn't work out, then we have the other person to come in. And along with that, the physical intimacy and physical things are growing like anything in youngsters. So I think that is a very big, because
That's why there are disturbances.
Yeah.
Mental disturbances in life. That's why there's life after marriage also is spoiled because of this, because of not being very cautious about physical intimacy before marriage. We are so loosely associated with opposite gender, like say like dogs and cats.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm very heavy, but that is the nature of the dogs and cat, dear friends. Not the human beings. Human beings are very cautious of their relationships. So everything matters actually. For married life to be good, so the work starts much before. Finding a proper partner, having proper understanding, then you commit. Then there are three phases of it. One is I have actually courses and workshops which I'm going to come up with starting from April. So this is about phases, which is they're single and getting into a relationship, getting into married life. So that journey, people are in a dream world. What is marriage? So bringing them to reality. So there are some workshops and courses which we are designing, and then there is something called as after the marriage is done. First 2 years are very crucial.
Okay.
The first 2 years are going to decide how the life is going to be. So सारा जो I'll say in Hindi is सारा जो जिंदगी अच्छी जानी है या समस्या के साथ जानी है.
The juice of your wedding is in the first 2
2
years.
years of marriage. So if first 2 years there is a proper training, proper understanding, proper clarity is there, how you have to shape your relationship first 2 years, then the rest of your life is sorted. But what happens is because of lot of scenarios, the first 2 years are damaged. There's so many scars which come in the first 2 years of relationship, and that scar remains with both of them
For the rest of the life. True.
And that tends to break because that scar goes on widening, and it might break the relationship also.
Yeah.
So that first 2 years are very crucial, very crucial. And then there's a time when you need a tune up of your marriage after 4, 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
And things are very dull and you're just dragging the married life. That's where you need a marriage student.
I have a friend, he was in a relationship with someone in ninth class. So basically in ninth standard he was in a relationship with someone. And luckily they got married also. 9 years in the relationship, they got married, and he told me that 1 year after his wedding, he told me that my 9 years of relationship was equivalent to 1 year of my wedding. Like it's so difficult if once you get married. It's just a fairy.
Different world.
It's just a different world. It looks like a fairy tale that you've been with some person for 9 years, then you're married. It'll be a easy task, but it's not an easy task. It's a very difficult task because you tend to stay with that person 24/7. All the habits, all the ethics are going to rub onto each other, and then that's where problem starts. You don't get your space, you don't get your time, you don't get your free time is gone. You're watching TV and
Respect is not there because over friendliness
yeah.
is also the cause of lot of problems in the life. Respect has to be there, mutual respect. Even the married life also mutual respect, mutual understanding. Space has to be given
Yeah.
for thinking, for thought process.
And for just to breathe.
Breathe.
Yeah.
सांस लेने देना. So ये बहुत आवश्यक है. This is very essential, very crucial things in life which are neglected. That's what we need to do.
Also, I would like to ask that: do you think astrology plays a lot of
Definitely.
thing in the, because I've seen people whose astrology is perfect, like the Devas and all, everything is perfect, but it doesn't go. They don't go well with each other. And I've seen people whose points and all the wedding that points are not to the point, but everything is okay.
Actually, astrology helps us understand the nature of a person
Hmm.
and what might happen in someone's life.
Hmm.
And also, basically, the astrology is a traditional Vedics. I mean, it's a Vedic science. It's from the scriptures. It's from the Vedas, and it's genuine, authentic.
Hmm.
So, first thing is you need to find an authentic astrologer
Hmm.
who can give you very authentic explanation of your charts.
Hmm.
That is very important.
Hmm.
If you don't go to a doctor, if you have to go, if you want to do a heart operation done,
Hmm.
what will you do? You look for the best surgeon in this city, right?
Hmm.
Not that you just go to a random person and an operation.
Hmm.
You don't do that, right? You look for best
Best.
person, best surgeon who can, because you're going to give your heart to him, Baba. You're going to give your heart to him. Similarly, astrology also, it's a science. It's a science, it's a Vedic science, and you should go to a proper person and take lessons from a proper person, because वो 1500 रुपया 1000 रुपया देके that doesn't work. You should know it from hearing from authentic sources who has studied that science well and who knows that what is astrology. And then if you consult him, he will be able to explain, okay, the girl which you are looking for, I mean the chart which you ask, this girl has this and this characteristics. These are the things which is good in her. These are the obstacles in her life. These are the problems in your life. This and this, and they will also say that if so this many things match between each other. This and this are good. So that will help you
To understand.
with your mutual, while mutual discuss with each other. That will help you to build your relationship.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I have understood out of astrology is your bank of past life karmic things which are given to you in this life, and that is how astrology works.
Yeah, it is there certain we will that is there,
But
it is also a way to know a person.
yeah, but the point is that when I went to a good, like I found a very nice astrologer and I went to that astrologer and I have a recording in my phone. And he was like, in 6 months, I guarantee you'll get married. If not, then I'll leave all this what I'm doing.
Okay.
And it's been a year and a half.
And probably it might be that some if it ऐसा भी होता है कि someone might have come in your life and you might have rejected that person.
Also, does it work that if you are doing a spiritual practice, your karmic reaction changes and your that thing can also affect?
Yes, definitely. Spiritual life transforms everything actually. Changes everything.
Maybe I think that's the,
Actually, a person who is practicing Krishna consciousness,
Hmm.
his life is completely controlled by Krishna himself.
Okay.
Yes, all these things are there, but that person is his file is been directly managed by Krishna.
Okay. So whatever you're doing and whatever you're supposed to do is being.
Yes, directed by the Lord. You are under the jurisdiction. Now there are two kinds of principles. There is general principles and there's transcendental religious principles. When you know the story of Ajamil,
Yeah.
Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
So when Ajamil was on the deathbed, he has committed so many abominable activities. So when Vishnu, the Yamadutas came to take him, right? But because he chanted the holy name of Lord Narayana
At the deathbed.
at the deathbed, why he chanted? Because his son name was Narayana, so he chanted the name of Narayana. And it was natural Ante Narayana Smriti, and actually it happened with him. So Vishnudutas came there to protect him. And then there was a conversation between them, Vishnudutas and the Yamadutas, and Arjuna was watching. What was the conversation all about? That what is dharma? So there are two kinds of dharma. One is general principles. I'll say dharma is the general principles, religious principles. There's then something called as transcendental religious principles, which is called as Bhagavad Dharma.
Okay.
So for the devotees, the general principle does not apply. For the devotees, the principles of Bhagavad Dharma applies.
Okay.
And that is all completely different calculation.
Do you think we should get into these calculations? Because what I've heard is that if you
Calculation
go,
means, I mean, the calculation in simple words, I'll say that Bhagavad Dharma means that person's life is completely under the directions of Bhagavan. Bhagavan directly manages it.
so basically that's the crux of it.
That's the crux of it. In general religious principle, you are still the boss of your life.
Okay.
And you are controlling things, basically. There is no surrender to the Lord in that. So whatever is from your past life, you have to get reacted for that, and you're going to continue normal life. But here, for a life of a devotee, it's different. Krishna is involved in that person's life.
Okay. That sounds really interesting. Probably move to the last part of our podcast. It's basically just a short answer on basically in a crux, what do you think about the questions that we are going to ask you?
Sure.
So the first one is how to be wise in a relationship.
How to be wise in relationship. Be truthful.
Okay. The second one is suggestion to overthinkers.
Live in present.
Okay. And the third one is
What happens is we create a lot of perception scenarios in our mind, what's going to happen in the future, and we disturb the present life. The present life is disturbed because we just overthink about the situations which may arise in future,
or may not.
or may not even. And most of the times it may not.
Yeah.
But we spoil our present life as well. The past is already spoiled. Present is also, you're spoiling it. Instead of enjoying the present life, when you have someone with you, you should be happy, contained, satisfied.
Yeah.
Enjoy that time, enjoy that present moment with that person. But we tend to overthink. Planning is good. Overthinking is good.
I think overthink spoils everything.
You lose.
I'm overthinker.
You lose your
Tendency to be in the present.
yes, because there are a lot of things, positive things around in present life,
Yeah.
and you tend to, appreciate that.
Yeah, that's true. 100%. When I figured out that there's so much around in the present and there's so much to be grateful for, when you get that gratitude, you start living in present and you start thinking less and being present and okay, whatever it is. But one thing I must say to all the overthinkers out there is that it is very, very, very difficult to control your mind without the spiritual practice or without meditating. It is impossible. I've tried out everything in the world to control my mind or to think something else. Like, even I'm sitting with you right now, I was that kind of person. I would be thinking something else in the back of my subconscious mind would have been somewhere else. That is the kind of
That's why
overthinker I
being
was.
conscious of the current scenarios in your life and valuing other people's presence in your life is also very important.
Mm.
When we're so much engrossed in the activities of future that planning is, I'm saying, and planning is good, but you are living present, valuing others' presence and their contributions in your life, appreciating them, and that's how life is going to be simple. Yeah, simple and sweet.
So I think that will stop our podcast here. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
Thank you
And
so
I
much.
I hope everyone who's listening to you will be very much motivated, especially with the relationship advice given by you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.